to the Royal Daily Tea YouTube channel. Please be advised all of my videos are for entertainment purposes only, based 100% on my own opinion, my own theories, and my own research. All of my information can be found on the public domain and falls under the fair use guidelines. Please feel free to do your own research. Hi everyone, it's Michelle and welcome back to the Royal Daily Tea. I hope everyone has had a lovely couple of days. I'm sorry for my absence. It's been a little crazy at work, but there is so much juicy royal tea to get through. We're going to go ahead and cover a couple of those today. So sit back and relax, grab yourself a beverage, and let's get into the Royal Daily Tea. So the more and more that I hear about Prince Harry and his behavior even before he got with Meghan Markle, I'm becoming convinced that they might actually be soulmates, you guys, because Harry had some extremely bad behavior that, of course, was covered up by Buckingham Palace. I mean, they worked overtime to make Harry look like the beloved Harry. We all loved Harry. I loved Harry. We all thought he was fun and jubilant, you know, always very charismatic, crazy, wild Harry. But apparently behind the scenes, he was actually a monster well before Meghan Markle appeared on the scene. But in my opinion, of course, when they got together, she found a kindred spirit, or he found a kindred spirit, and together they became the dynamic duo of narcissism. Unfortunately, their staff had to pay the price for this dynamic duo to get together. So Meghan definitely knew how to push Harry's buttons, and both of them just acted horribly to their staff. And that's why they're in the predicament and the situation that they're in. When you have two spoiled, petulant, grandiose narcissists who get together, well, I mean, look at where they're at now. 13 lawsuits in 3 years. They have self-exiled themselves from the royal family, but yet they want all the trappings of the royal family, and they are a constant victim when they're actually bullying people themselves. It's like a narcissism wet dream. So I've been reading excerpts from Valentine Low's upcoming book, Courtiers, and let me tell you something, I'm really shocked and kind of sad to hear how Harry has been a very spoiled and petulant prince. He was very paranoid of the press. He made his staff constantly prove their loyalty to him. Are you going to protect me against the media? Harry had this really deep-rooted fear and paranoia of the media. Now, I can understand on some level why he had this fear. He grew up as Princess Diana's son, and we all know that Princess Diana was hounded relentlessly by the press. I mean, she really was hounded by the press. And so as a young child, you know, being around that, I can understand on some level how that could put a little bit of fear, a little bit of PTSD in someone. I will give him that, because I can't imagine growing up with that kind of attention. So I can, you know, my heart does go out to him on that level. But apparently it just really, really made him obsessed with the media. He didn't trust them. He had his staff constantly say, are you protecting me? You know, fight the media for me. He was very worried about security. He was even very mistrustful of Prince Charles's staff, Prince William's staff, the Queen's secretary. He always felt like they were plotting against him. So he was a very paranoid person. He had a lot of mistrust for people within the palace walls. And then here comes Meghan Markle. Yes, the Beyonce of the UK herself. So when he marries into Meghan Markle, she's like, ding, 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 I got a winner. She really found this spoiled, petulant, paranoid prince as her, well, soulmate. In my opinion, they might be soulmates, guys. I'm beginning to think they're made for each other. They both had the same illusion that they were better and more grander than they were. They were both very rude, very spoiled, very petulant, and horrible to people around them. It seems like Harry has been doing this for years, as well as Meghan. So when they got together, she just elevated Harry and his paranoia to a whole new level. You know, she played the damsel in distress, I need security, Harry. And of course, Harry was already super paranoid that that was music to his ears. Oh my God, they're gonna get her like they got my mummy. We got to get the security on her pronto. According to Valentine Low, Harry's security team worked behind the scenes very, very hard to get Meghan that private security, but it took over 2 months to grant her that security because there's a lot of royal protocols they have to go through, and that wasn't enough for Harry and Meghan. Again, they felt like, you're working against me. They always expect the minute they want something, it should just magically appear in their lap. They're very, very entitled. Harry had a huge problem. You know, he was the spare to the heir. He's not William. And he became so jealous and concerned about being replaced by his nephew, Prince George. You know, it's the same thing that happened to Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew grew up very much in the limelight, and he was second in line to the throne right after Prince Charles. But basically, after Charles got married and started having children, he has fallen way down the wayside in the line of succession. So Harry became very, very paranoid with the fact he had a shelf life, that he had to get out there and make an impact in the world, and I'm going to be misplaced by my nephew, Prince George. Again, a very spoiled person who's been giving everything of privilege in life, and he's whining because his nephew's going to upstage him. And he's afraid of being put out in the pasture like his uncle, you know, Andrew. So his staff had to work tirelessly to prove to him, hey, you can be, you know, worth something well into your 60s. You have plenty of time. You can still make an impact in life. They were constantly having to feed his ego and his paranoia and prove their loyalty. So they were exhausted. And then those poor people had to deal with Meghan. I'm sure they were just thrilled that they had another narcissistic person arriving on the scene. So when the two of them got together, it was like salt and pepper and peanut butter and jelly of a narcissistic duo made in hell. And the staffers formed the Sussex Survivor Club, and that they just went on their tirade of abusing their staff. Now, in my opinion, and I've said this before, and Valentine Low kind of talks about it in his book, was that Meghan never really officially wanted to be in the royal fold. In my opinion, she never gave up her agent or her business manager. They were still working on deals in Hollywood. Way back in 2019, they were talking to Netflix already. Remember, she was working with Elton John's husband for Pearl. Way before they left the royal family, she was doing the Disney deal for the Elephant docuseries, but Meghan was obsessed with making money because at that point, the money she got from doing the documentary was given to charity. So Meghan really, really wanted to make money. She really wanted to go back to Hollywood. So Meghan and Harry were extremely unhappy with the lot that they felt they were dealt with in the royal fold. They were always second best. They weren't happy with, you know, what was happening with security. They weren't happy with what was happening in regards to, you know, the press coverage and protecting Meghan. They weren't happy with how the palace was handling things with the press. They were extremely obsessed with keeping the birth of Archie private. Now, this is where the public, in my opinion, started to have a mistrust of Harry and Meghan, and this is well before they left the royal family. There was just too many weird things that Harry and Meghan were doing while they were in the royal fold. The whole thing with Archie's birth was just weird, and that's where all the conspiracy theories and all of the mistrust was born, because Harry and Meghan were refusing to play ball. They were refusing to abide by the royal rules. So here they are, paid working royals in the royal fold still, but they're starting to have issues. And it basically started around the time of Archie's birth. They say, according to Valentine Low, that Harry was extremely paranoid with the press. He didn't like the press. He did not want to share any details of Archie's birth. And of course, Meghan thought the whole thing was barbaric. So the two of them, you know, did a little switcheroo on the press and made their team of staffers look ridiculous. And I'm sure they were thrilled about that. And kind of played cat and mouse with the press. So they, you know, did out the story that, oh, Meghan just went into labor, when in fact she had had Archie a few hours before. Again, no royal had ever really done that. They decided to orchestrate the photo shoot with Archie at Windsor Castle with only one journalist and one photographer. So the two of them, they had this very weird obsession with control. They have to control the narrative. And if you don't fit into their controlled narrative, they're going to shut you down. They're going to sue you, you know, that type of thing. Just very, very narcissistic control. It's very weird. So I believe that is where people started to come up with the conspiracies about the pregnancy, because, you know, Meghan refused to go to the doctors that all the other royals had gone to. She refused the hospital. Then no one knew exactly when she was giving birth. The, you know, information was like confusing. The announcement, oh, she gave birth. So again, all this secrecy, and it just bred a whole bunch of people going, huh? What's going on? You know, she refused to do the traditional photographs. And so again, it was very clear at that point that Harry and Meghan were starting to have problems within the royal fold. And then they go off to Canada in November of 2019 and pretty much never went back. There was even a report that they had a poor nanny with them on the airplane, and the woman didn't even know where they were going until they were in the air. To me, that's kidnapping. You kidnapped that woman. But, you know, whatever. Again, they're so narcissistic and controlling, you can't even let the staff know where you're going until she's up in the air. I don't think that would be cool with me. I think I would have a conniption fit. But again, Harry and Meghan are so obsessed and diluted with paranoia and self-grandioseness and narcissism that this is how they live their life. They're just crazy. I'm sorry. It's just crazy. So you have two people who decide that, you know, they're not given enough in life, you know, because again, he was number 2, number 3 in line to the throne at the time. Now he's number 5, but he didn't feel it was enough, and he was afraid that he wasn't going to make an impact. So you have someone like Meghan speaking in his ear, hey, I got my staff of people, they're working on these Netflix deals, and we're going to go back to Hollywood because I'm the Beyonce of the UK and you're Prince Harry. We're going to blow up Hollywood and they're just going to be eating out of our hands. We're going to take Hollywood by storm. It's going to be awesome. They were also arranging the Oprah Winfrey interview was already in the works, but because of COVID, it got delayed until March of 2021. So it was actually due to air beforehand, but again, you know, they had a lot of things going on and it got pushed back. So they didn't officially leave until March of 2020, but they had already officially left like by October of 2019, and they were well into their Netflix and Spotify negotiations before they left. So that whole story that they told on Oprah Winfrey, we didn't even know what we were going to do, and thank goodness we had our inheritance, because my daddy, he cut me off financially, even though he just got $5 million, and they already had negotiations with Netflix. So again, they weren't exactly telling people the truth once again. So here you have these two narcissistic, self-exiled royals who 2.5 years later are still crying. Still crying. It's like you got what you wanted. You left the royal family. You have all of these deals. So why are you crying? So again, nobody knows what these two want. It's like they're constantly throwing their toys out of the pram. Now next Tuesday, the third installment of Meghan Markle's podcast is going to hit. I believe she has the comedian Margaret Cho. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Meghan puts in this podcast. I can't imagine what word she's going to pick out of her hat for this episode, but apparently, according to the rumors behind the scenes, there may or may not have been some edits to the podcast. So I guess we'll have to find out and see. So King Charles III definitely is having a little rough start to his reign. Not only does he have to worry about the tell-all memoir that his rogue, spoiled son, Prince Harry, is going to spill in his upcoming memoir. We don't know exactly what's going to be in the book. There's a rumor that Harry is running around trying to make some last-minute changes in lieu of Her Majesty passing away. It is rumored that Harry wants to make some changes because it would be a very bad look after her passing to have this book come out. There's also the rumor that it's too late, that if he wants to have a November release, that it's too late to make changes, and that the publisher is definitely wanting to publish the book as is, because you know they got to make their money back. They're paying this guy a lot of money. So we don't know if the book is actually going to come out this November or if it's going to be pushed back until 2023. We also have noticed that The Crown Season 5 is going to debut in November. Now, this show is picking up right in the middle of Charles and Princess Diana's divorce. Again, it's going to highlight, the scandal around his marriage and Camilla, which her being the new queen consort, him being the new king. It's just horrible timing. Nobody knew that Charles was going to be king at this time, even though we knew Her Majesty was ill and she was definitely getting up there. Honestly, no one had anticipated her dying so quickly, and definitely not this year. So now that King Charles has started his reign, he definitely has an uphill battle fighting against the crown and Prince Harry. But I think he's going to persevere. I think a lot of people have accepted the fact that he's been married to Camilla for 17 years. A lot of people have grown to like Camilla, including myself. And so I say, I love The Crown. I think it's a good show, but it is historical fiction. And Prince Harry, well, the man that he has become, quite frankly, I don't think any of us are very impressed with what he has to say. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think Prince Harry's going to have his memoir come out this year, and do you plan to buy it? And are you a fan of The Crown? Do you plan to watch the new series? And what do you think about Harry and Meghan? Do you really believe they are narcissistic soulmates, or do you think there's still going to be a divorce? Leave me your comments, guys, down below. As always, I appreciate you for stopping by my channel. Please make sure you hit that notification bell. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, about 40% of my viewers are not subscribed. I hope that you will hit that notification bell and subscribe to my channel. You can also check me out on all of my other social media accounts. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.